Hi everyone, my name is Julie. I'm the nutrition coach here at Mind and Body Solutions, and today we are going to be talking about cycle syncing. So, cycle syncing is for women experiencing their cycles. When you're doing so, when you're at that age in your life, your body is constantly in need of different nutrients based on where you are at in your cycle. There's 4 different phases. And if you're not getting enough of a certain nutrient when it's needed, this is what can contribute to cycle irregularity, hormone imbalance, and then PMS symptoms. It is incredibly important for women to understand what's happening within their body during each phase of their cycle, especially since many of us were not taught this information growing up. While shaping your diet and activity around your cycle can seem a little bit finicky, it can be a powerhouse in helping to support your body and feel your best. So, cycle syncing basically is shaping your diet and your activity, your movement, that sort of things, even productivity, if you really want to get into it, around where you are at in your cycle. So basically, in each phase, you have different nutrient needs, you have different energy levels. So that's going to impact what exercises you choose to do, what foods you choose to eat, what's going to work the best with your body versus working against it. When you cycle sync, you are trying to work with your body, support it, work with your energy levels rather than work against it, do the same thing all the time, and then wonder why you feel like crap, for 2 weeks out of the month, that sort of thing. So I'm going to be breaking down each phase of the cycle in order, what your body's doing during that time, what foods we should be prioritizing, and then a couple different aspects. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first cycle. This is your menstrual phase. Now I'm basing this off of the standard 28-day cycle. It's become more common knowledge that that's not actually normal for every single person, but just for the sake of this, I'm going based on a 28-day cycle. So your menstrual phase is going to be days 1 through 5 in your cycle. So during this phase, your body is focused on detoxification as it is shedding the uterine lining because there was no pregnancy. Hormones are at their lowest concentrations during this phase, and iron levels need to be replenished due to bleeding. So this phase is perfect for healthy, comforting foods that are easy to digest, like stews, soups, broths, bone broth, that sort of thing. Foods to prioritize during this time are going to be your iron building and anti-inflammatory foods. So in terms of proteins, this is going to be red meats, organ meats like liver, if you can tolerate that, salmon, sardines, shellfish, kidney beans. These are all going to be good. The red meat, organ meats, and the kidney beans are all going to be a good source of iron. For vegetables, this is going to be prioritizing beets, mushrooms, leafy greens, seaweed, and then hardy root vegetables. For fruits, your dark colored berries, so blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, all of these are going to be good anti-inflammatory berries. For nuts and seeds, this is going to be pumpkin seeds and flax seeds. Both of these help with estrogen balance during this time, which is really important in the first half of your cycle. And then grains are going to be things like wild rice or buckwheat. Some foods that I would limit during this time is going to be caffeine. So that's from coffee, tea, energy drinks, whatever. I would limit alcohol, greasy foods, and then super ultra processed foods. So, your chips, your packaged cookies, stuff like that. A lot of the things that we tend to crave if we have PMS symptoms and we're feeling not the greatest on our period, as hard as it is, giving in to them is only going to make you feel worse. So I would try to find better options if you can. During this time, your energy levels are at their lowest. That's why you kind of just want to lay in bed, not really leave the house too much, just kind of relax, and that is completely fine. Don't push yourself beyond your limits. And then going along with that, activity levels during this time are low. So if you're still wanting to incorporate movement, do low intensity exercises. So some just slow pace, leisurely walking, stretching, yoga, or simply take time to rest. The next phase in your cycle is called the follicular phase. This is days roughly 6 through 14. Now, during this phase, your body is preparing to release an egg, and the lining of the uterus is regrowing. Follicle stimulating hormone, known as FSH, is released, which triggers the release of the luteinizing hormone. Estrogen and testosterone start low, and then the levels begin to rise in anticipation of ovulation. There's a rise in testosterone, and it begins to stimulate and increase libido during this time. Additionally, cervical mucus becomes wetter and as it leads up to ovulation, which is more conducive to sperm. So, foods to prioritize during this phase in your cycle are going to be lighter meals, leaner proteins, fermented foods, produce that's rich in vitamin C, raw fruits and vegetables, and then sulfurous vegetables. So for proteins, this includes specifically, this isn't to say if I didn't list it, you can't have it, but foods especially like salmon, oysters, poultry, eggs, lentils are all going to be really good. Lean ground beef or lean beef in general. For vegetables, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, onions, garlic, bell peppers, leafy greens, tomatoes. These are all going to be either sulfurous vegetables or your vitamin C rich. Fruits, I would recommend citrus fruits or berries. For nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds and flax seeds, again, are going to help balance out those estrogen levels, whether you have too much or not enough. They have what's called phytoestrogens, and so they help you kind of regulate, okay, if my body doesn't have enough, it's going to help it get to the point where it needs to be, or if my body has too much, it's going to help bind the excess and get it out. Some fats I would prioritize during this time are going to include coconut oil, avocado, grass-fed butter. Grains that are going to be good during this time include oats, rye, or barley. And then extras are going to be those fermented foods. So that's sauerkraut, kimchi, pickled or lacto-fermented pickled vegetables. So whether that's basically that's stuff that's gone through fermentation rather than pickling with vinegar. So if you ever heard of the brand Bubby's, their pickles are going to be fermented. And then drinks like kefir, that's fermented. These are all going to be good probiotic sources. During the follicular phase, your energy levels are high. And so in terms of activity, having moderate to high intensity workouts, so things like jogging, hiking, strength training are all going to be great to do during this time. The third phase, your ovulatory phase, occurs between days 15 and 17. So during this phase, this is your chance to get pregnant. There is a huge surge of luteinizing hormone, which causes the release of an egg into the fallopian tube. Estrogen and testosterone are at their peak, meaning libido is highest. Since estrogen is highest, it is important to eat nutrients which support the liver to get rid of any excess estrogen, which could be harmful. So foods to prioritize during this time are going to be colorful fruits and vegetables, which are going to help support detoxification and give you sufficient fiber to make sure you are eliminating everything. So for proteins, salmon, eggs, lamb, beef, tuna, shrimp, lentils, poultry, all of these are going to be great. For vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, so that's items like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, and then also your leafy greens, so whether that's spinach, kale, arugula, romaine, green leaf lettuce, whatever kind you like. Additionally, colorful vegetables like tomatoes, bell peppers, beets, radishes, sweet potato, you name it. And then also mushrooms are going to be great. Fruits that I would focus on during this time are going to be berries, persimmon, figs, if you like them, and also coconut. And then nuts and seeds, again, pumpkin seeds and flax seeds are going to help with those estrogen levels. Additionally, pecans and pistachios are just going to be good, healthy fats. And then for grains, things like quinoa and amaranth are going to pack a good fiber and protein punch. So that's going to be supportive during this time. During the ovulatory phase, your energy levels are at their peak, at their highest. So doing high intensity exercise, like if you do HIIT workouts or running or cycling or sprints or super heavy lifting, those are all going to be great to do during this time. You're going to have the energy to keep up with them. And then our last phase is the luteal phase. Now this is one that lasts between days 18 and 28. So during this phase, FSH and LH decline, as do estrogen and testosterone, and then progesterone starts to rise, which stimulates the growth of the new uterine lining. Progesterone also causes cervical mucus to become drier. So in this phase, it's important to consume foods that support the production of progesterone, such as zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, and vitamin B6. Serotonin and dopamine decrease, which is often a cause of why we want to crave sweets and carbs at this time, because those give us a short-term boost of serotonin and dopamine. So choosing whole, nutrient-dense, fiber-filled options to satisfy cravings will help us kind of get the flavor that we're wanting, but without killing our energy levels. So foods to prioritize during this time are going to be progesterone boosting foods, ones that are iron rich, warming, and comforting in preparation for menstruation. So for protein, this is going to be salmon, cod, turkey, beef, poultry, or chicken. Sorry, I already said turkey. Chickpeas, navy beans. For vegetables, again, your cruciferous vegetables, green veggies, so celery, cucumber, leafy greens, bell peppers, root vegetables. These are going to help kind of get that sweet, warming craving, but also be very nutrient dense. So parsnips, pumpkin, radish, squash, sweet potatoes, all of those. Fruits that are being good during this time, again, to kind of help satisfy that sweet craving, but also keep the nutrients. Apples, dates, raisins, peaches, pears are all going to be great. Some nuts and seeds to prioritize are going to be sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. These two help support progesterone production, so they're going to be great powerhouses. I would avoid pumpkin seeds and flax seeds during this time. And then additionally, walnuts are just going to be a good anti-inflammatory nut. And then the grains, millet and brown rice are going to be helpful. Foods to limit, I would limit added sugar, dairy, alcohol, and then greasy or fried foods during this time. Your energy levels are going to be pretty low. So for activity, I would keep it, moderate to low intensity, whether that's just walking, yoga, Pilates, light strength training, or body weight exercises, and then light or gentle cardio. So we've discussed all 4 phases of your cycle, what happens during each phase, and what food or dietary and lifestyle choices you can make to support yourself during each phase. I hope that you learned a lot. I hope that this was a valuable resource of information, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.